Hi everyone, the king of consistency back here again after 2.5 weeks, even though I said I'd try to do bi-weekly uploads. I do apologize for the late upload, though it has been a busy few weeks for me, to be fair. I'm back at it again now though. Okay, now, today I'm very excited to record this, as this is a topic that I am finally a bit more experienced and I guess passionate about. This video will be about what I do and don't do for the line art process. Of course, as always, since this topic has been covered many different times, I'll try to include some maybe hot takes that aren't said too often, or things you can try and do to, I guess, change up or spice up your drawings from the usual. Alright, that's it for this intro. Let's get straight into it. Now, the first thing I do want to say is the usual. There's no right or wrong way of doing things unless you're actually, professionally hired to draw things in a certain way. What I don't get is why I hear this so often, that the brush doesn't matter. Absolutely it matters. What I think most people mean is that different brushes won't magically increase your skill, which is correct, but many beginners may not understand that right away. They might think, brushes have no effect on your drawings at all, which is definitely not true. So here's two different drawings of the same type of clothing that I've made, done in two different brushes. This one is a thicker brush with more line variance. The JJK brush is what I like to call it. And the other one is called a copycat micron pen, which is aimed to look like a fine liner, so it has much less variance. So you can already see the difference here. I'm not the best at drawing clothing folds, but I think you can see the point. So yes, before you even try anything else, I'd say try and experiment with different brushes, different lineup brushes you can find. Clip Studio obviously has it really easy. You can find and download them from the built-in asset store. I'm not as well versed in other programs, so please let me know in the comments if free programs like Critter lets you do the same. Try different brushes, friends. It may very well just fit better with the style you're trying to achieve, right? Objection! Hot take time, everyone. Stay with me now. Maybe it's a colder take now, but most of the advice from when I was a beginner, most were telling me to use the stabilization option. Again, nothing wrong with using it if it works for you and your style, but what I do implore you to try, especially if you're currently pretty reliant on stabilization, is to just try and get rid of it completely. Just for a few drawings to see if it works for you. It's not to say it's not useful. Of course, it's useful if you're trying to do very smooth line art or if you got shaky hands, for example. Also, it did help when I first got a screenless tablet many years ago. It helped me get used to it a little, but I think it is safe to say that I won't be able to draw what I'm drawing now if I used the same stabilization settings as I did back then. So I guess this tip is to not be afraid to experiment and change up your normal settings a little, see what works for you. So that leads into my next point about line weight. For this one, I found that it's really hard to do good line variance with higher stabilization options, just because it moves so slowly, right? In general, I have nothing too hot to say about this one. I guess I still do agree with the voices of old that in most illustration type drawings, having varying line weights does help. So line variance, what does that mean? All you pretty much need to know is to try to make lines thicker where lines meet or where it should be darker on the drawing, and also not to overdo this. That's important. If you do the same thing everywhere the same way, it might just look as monotonous and boring as if you just left everything in the same way. So do be careful, but if you're a beginner, try this out. Okay, now this one is definitely uncommon for a reason. Me personally, I don't really do sketches anymore. I do draw the rough body underneath before doing the details, but what I'm saying is for clothes and face, for example, I just draw it right away on top of the body. I don't really do any sketching for that part anymore. I don't know, maybe I'm just lazy, maybe this is just copium at this point, but sometimes when I'm watching an art video, a speed draw maybe, and the drawing looks so cool, I'm like, wow, that's sick. And then when I see the opacity go down, I'm like, oh no, it's happening again. The end result usually just looks the same anyway. Of course, not naming any names, but yeah, I saw that and I just decided to not do sketching entirely, and it's worked for me so far. For me, my stuff just looks a bit too stiff if I have to follow something that accurately. So this would be following my sketch to do the line art. I'm definitely not saying this would work for everyone and every style, but do give it a shot if you are experimenting. So combining all those things is how I usually do my line work. So using different brushes for different purposes or feels, not using stabilization at all now. So mine's at completely 0, not 1, 2, nothing like that. Making some parts of the drawing thicker, so using varied line weights, and not doing the sketch entirely. I mean, if it works for you, it works. Because like, if your line art looks pretty much the same as your sketch, then what's the point, you know? If you gotta do like there's a whole, you know. So to answer the question, how to improve your line art as a beginner, you should experiment. I think that's the idea I want to give to people. What doesn't work for me works for thousands of artists that are much better than me. And of course, there's heaps of artists that likely share most of my approaches too. Always try to experiment, not just for line art too, for many different things in art. Right, so that should do it for the video. I know it was a shorter one, but I think I did manage to put everything I did want to put in, and sometimes more is less, so less is more, I mean. I would love to see some discussion in the comments about this one. What you guys think, what you guys use in your art, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I think it will be very enlightening to see. So yeah, please do let me know in the comments what you thought of the stuff I said today. Okay, so anything else? Oh, and thank you guys for 600 subs now. I'm having a look at it right now, and wow, I can't believe I'm closer to 1,000 than 0. That's pretty insane to me. I mean, 600 is such a large number if you think about it. You know, in terms of real life, let's say, imagine 600 people just standing in front of you, just listening to what you're saying. I mean, I don't mind public speaking, but wow, that's a lot of people. Dang. As always, welcome to everyone that came along, that everyone knew. I hope you enjoy my content going forward. I'll try to, yeah, of course, make at least bi-weekly stuff if I'm not too busy. But yeah, no promises, I guess. So that should be it. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please look forward to my next one. And if you made it this far, of course, a subscribe and a like would be appreciated. Like button, did it light up? Press the like button. You know, I see some YouTubers doing this, and it never occurred to me to do that myself. You know, I make YouTube videos too now. I guess it doesn't really seem real even now. If you want to watch a bit more practical tutorial where I do stuff on screen while I'm talking, I have a video on how to draw hair, which I'll link on screen right now as well. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks guys, I'll see you next time.